The eyes are on the Jersey Shore. I am Vin Abinu at my home studio in Toms River today with Josh Smith and his mother, Paula, to discuss Josh's battle with ALS over the last couple of years and their mission to try and get a drug, a bill passed down in Washington, D.C. that could help with treatment of ALS and certainly help a lot of people out there. So I thank the both of you for joining me here today to discuss this initiative and do what we can to help get the word out about building support for in the House Bill S 1813 and then Bill HR 8662 here. So, Josh and Paula, I know this has been something that's been going on the last 3 years. Josh, now being 32 years old, being diagnosed when you were 29. So, when just to go over the battle to start with here. When you found out that it was ALS, what were some of the things going on in your head? What were some of the physical changes you started to experience in taking this at the initial battle?
Well, it's life altering to say the least. Like I said, I was 29 at the time. Coaching middle school football, had a family construction business. Graduated college already. Life was on the upswing, and then I got diagnosed with ALS. And at the time, the doctor said, "Go home and get your affairs in order." And there's not much to do. There's nothing out there. There's no treatments for you. There's a drug that gives you maybe 2 months to live. The life expectancy is 2 to 5 years to live. That's something you don't want to hear at 29 years old. Me being a football player, the only thing I knew about ALS was Steve Gleason and
the bucket challenge.
Ice bucket
Right.
challenge. I really didn't even know what it was. Just knew it was a social trend.
Lou Gehrig.
What it was based off of, or renamed the disease pretty much.
We didn't know the details of the whole disease
or what it actually does to the body. What ALS does to the body is, it robs you from everything. It slowly deteriorates your muscles, your nerve endings, your speech, your ability to breathe. But all in the meantime, your brain stays 100% healthy. So you literally get trapped in your body. So that's why I'm out here speaking and using my voice to advocate for all those 30,000 Americans that can't speak. Because I know I got a treatment that worked for me. And it's
not fair that everyone can't have a treatment. Whenever you have any kind of illness, right, you're hoping that you could get something over the counter to take care of you, or you could get, I don't know, any kind of medicine. If you have chemo, you go for, if you have cancer, you go for chemo and radiation, and diabetics get to take insulin, and every disease or illness has something that you could take. When you have ALS, there's zero treatments, and that's what we're fighting for. There are other things out there, but they never get past the third phase trial. So they never get to continue to take them. Now,
well, ALS is on the same spectrum for acne medicine in the trial platform. So a disease that's 100% fatal has to live by the same
compared to
acne medicine, which is crazy. You hear in oncology all these drugs that, of course, they're going to give a stage 4 cancer patient a chance at a drug. With ALS, they don't do that. It's no chance. There's promising drugs out there that are sitting on the shelf that no one could use, or only a limited basis of people in the trials are getting access to these drugs. And it's a world I never knew about, a world I got thrown into unwillingly. And here we are fighting all the injustice we found within the
We're
system.
trying to educate the people that don't know, and we're also trying to, like you said, get the bill passed. And the most important thing for Josh is, because he was a part of the trial, he was then offered the expanded access program, which he got into. Only 10 people got the expanded access.
All in America.
So only 10 people know they actually got the drug NurOwn. And all 10 of those people have gotten better. Their progression has halted, or they've improved. For Josh, he has improved by, he has more strength now in his shoulders. He has more strength in his arms, his legs. His speech is better than it was. His breathing was at the capacity of an 80-year-old man a year ago. And now since then, with these 3 injections, his breathing is at 105%, which is the same as mine and yours. So that's never happened in ALS, in the history of ALS in 100 years. That's never happened. Josh is getting better, and Congress and the FDA are not hearing what's happening to the patients. That's the hard part. They're looking at, there's a scale, it's called the ALS FRS score, and it measures where you are at in your ALS progression. Unfortunately, it's flawed. It doesn't tell you the accuracy. It doesn't say how Josh is getting better. They never look to see how the patients are doing outside of that scale. And that's one of the things we're trying to get across, that just look at them and hear how they've gotten better. Look at the doctor's reports, because outside of the trial, Josh is seeing a neurologist here in Lacey. We're seeing a pulmonologist. We see a heart specialist, all these doctors, because each doctor takes care of a different part, because with ALS, it affects your whole entire body. So now that the FDA has said that NurOwn does not work 100%, it failed to meet its endpoints. It only works 35% from the people that they tested in the trial. But the trial was 50-50. It was 100 patients got the drug and 100 patients got the placebo. So they're going off of that statistic, and that doesn't, it's not showing. 50% didn't even get the drug, so how are they going to know?
Regardless of the case, 35% of being effective is better than a 100% fatal disease with no treatment. Right. So if you go into a treatment knowing that hey, this drug might not work, but there's a 35% chance it does work, of course you're going to take it. I mean, that's common sense.
Who wouldn't, right? It's
already been proven to be ethical, safe, and all that. It's been in trial for 15 years. 15 years. It's too long for...
COVID vaccine was put out like immediately. This drug has been tested for
1 year, went through FDA approval process.
And this drug has been in trial for 15 years, tested, untested, everything they could possibly do, right? And it's still not approved because of the FDA feeling that it didn't help everyone. Well, we know it's not going to help everyone because ALS is a
genetic disease, meaning it's so hard to...
No two people are the same with ALS.
One drug is not going to cure everyone. Just like if you have liver cancer, you can't treat it the same as someone with kidney cancer. The treatment is different, and hence the treatment for ALS needs to be different. And I know for a fact NurOwn has worked for me and has worked for others. And the fact that is I can't go get another treatment tomorrow if I wanted to. It was given to me in a trial base and then an EAP base. But now that it's working, it's being taken away from me, which is somewhat unethical. And I feel that the NJ senators should step up to the plate because I'm one of 10 people, and I'm one of New Jersey in their state, and I'm definitely a responder to a drug that is making changes in a disease that nothing has been available for 150 years.
So Josh went to UMass in Boston, in Massachusetts. His doctor is the #1 doctor in ALS, and He doesn't know who got the placebo, who got the actual drug. After the EAP program, when Josh actually got the drug, he was so impressed. He went and called the head of Brainstorm, who's the founder of that. And he said, this response is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Now, he's been doing this for years, and he's never seen 40 years, never saw anything like it. For him to say, this kid is amazing. His improvement is, he's never seen anything like it. But yet, nothing from the FDA.
Now, did the FDA oversee this expanded program study, or was this run by somebody else?
I'm not.
So the expanded access program was part of, they did do that. So they ran out of money, so that they wanted more people, of course, to be in the expanded access program, but because of money, they did it. And then once the FDA said, no, they weren't going to approve it, Brainstorm didn't have enough money to fund for everyone to be in it. So luckily, again, Josh by luck or God above has helped Josh in the fact that he had already had his bone aspiration done. So they were responsible. They had to continue with the trial for Josh when Brainstorm had pulled out. And so everyone wasn't able to get it, only 10 people. So he actually got the drug and got better.
When I know you mentioned earlier, Paula and Josh, what had the vast improvement in symptoms, but when you started taking NurOwn, and then kind of now, how have you seen that kind of day by day, step by step, month by month progression from where you were, several months ago or a year ago, 2 years ago to where you are now? Did you feel any immediate effects after taking the medicine, or did it take a little bit of time for you to start breathing a little bit easier and talking and moving around a little bit better?
So in between the trial and the EAP program, there were 17 months. And in those 17 months, Josh started to progress, just like everyone else with ALS. It's some people,
especially like those 3 months right before EAP, I really felt myself slipping and harder to do stuff that was
daily basis things. So like his arms, because the shoulders were getting weak, it was harder for him to pick up his hands, to do daily activities like washing his hair and getting dressed, putting a shirt over his head. These are all things that we take for granted, that you have no buttons, no more buttons. The hands are really hard. Eating, holding your fork, writing, all of these things you take for granted. And in the time from the trial ending to the EAP, Josh's progression began. And so one of the things with ALS is fasciculation. So your muscles all continue to move and twitch. That had stopped while he was in the trial. And it stopped now while he was in the EAP. But the period in between, you could watch his arms just going 100 miles an hour.
And what that is the nerve endings deteriorating off your muscle.
And that was big time happening in between. He lost more function with his hands. He has what's called the drop foot, and that was getting worse. So his walking was getting really, really hard. And the breathing was going down in his scores. And then he got EAP and everything reversed again and got better.
And it definitely improved. The walking, I started getting the strength back. I'm not talking about going and playing football again, strength, but noticeably different. It was easier to walk, easier to shower, easier to talk longer sentences. I mowed the lawn after the first injection. Second injection, I went down on a family vacation, went down 100 stairs, back up 100 stairs.
Where he couldn't do that before.
This is 3 years after diagnosis, where I'm projected to be dead already, 3 to 5 years. And here I am still walking, talking, advocating, going upstairs. Breathing has improved. Like my mom said, my breathing was at a 65% breathing capacity. And being an athlete my whole life, it was definitely changing. And then now being back to 105 vital capacity is huge. even just me talking in these long sentences, this wasn't happening 9 months ago.
Without this.
I would get winded after each sentence and have to catch my breath.
What if the doctors, I mean, I know you talked about the doctor up at UMass, but all the doctors together have, since you've taken NurOwn and after the trial ended here, what were some of their reactions? How impressed were they? What do they think you are right now in terms of where the disease is?
Oh, my neurologist, my local neurologist, he's swearing by it. I mean, he said in his assessment, I'm getting stronger. You know, this isn't the FRS score where the normal people look at. He's going off hand touch, eyes feel, and what he's seeing, and he's saying you're getting stronger. Usually in a disease where you lose 1 to 2 points on the scale a month, I've stayed the same for 8 months since the EAP. So, I mean, it's common sense to us. I mean, we do these Zoom calls with senators and Congress, and they're all, once they hear the story, it makes so much sense. But
and they say, so why haven't they done it? Why? They all are asking us why. Well, they're the ones. We don't know why,
and it's so, to us it makes perfect sense, and to 80% of the people it makes sense. But there's that 20% that I don't know what the issue is, or I don't know. I mean, I wish we did know, but we don't. And this is why we make these calls and constantly advocate, because we know what works for me. And if I don't speak up, I'm one of 10 people that got it. Who else is going to speak up? You know, so I got to speak up.
Have you had much response from all the phone calls to either people in the House, the congressional representatives, or this from New Jersey at least, or from Senators Booker or Menendez or anybody with the FDA in terms of getting this to a phase 4, to the next part of the trial, maybe getting more people tested, and, you know, explaining how your symptoms improved over the course of the trial that from taking the NurOwn?
So the way the bill works is you have to get so many people in the House first before you can move on to the Senate. And the number to get was 290. We now have what do we have, Josh? 317 in the House. So it's going to pass in the House and go on to the Senate. Everyone in New Jersey, every congressman in New Jersey, we've talked to every single one, are on board in the House. So now we just have Senator Menendez and Senator Booker. We've talked to both of them on Zoom calls, and we're just sitting and waiting. And this is the hard part, because there's not time. There's not enough time to sit and wait. You need to take the information we've given you, give that to the senator, and move it along. And that's the hard part.
Well, it's multiple things. The bill is to help the future. Mm-hmm. And so we don't get situations like this again. There's going to be money there for expanded access for the drugs, but right now NurOwn it's on its last legs. That's why we're asking for a phase 4 post-marketing study, because that's the only option left.
And only the senators can do that. So they could push the FDA into doing that. They could say, Josh is my constituent in my state. I've seen him, I've heard him, he's getting better. I insist that this drug keep being out there.
Keep being out there.
Accessible to him.
Me keep getting injections. Me keep getting data to see, hey, this drug does work, or hey, it doesn't work. But we're clearly see that it does work, and that's why we're asking for this phase 4 post-marketing study to prove that this drug does work. And
Josh will let anybody study him for as long as it takes.
Yep.
The thing with all of the trials is, without the medication, you can't see if they're going to get better. They die before they get the chance. So if there was a post-4 marketing study, they would continue to study what's happening in the ALS body, and Josh would continue to maintain. It's not about getting better. We understand he won't get better, but he can maintain.
We don't even know if that's the possibility with them.
No one's ever gotten that far.
Because we always stopped at 3 injections in all the trials. So who's to say what 10 injections will do? Who's to say what 20 injections will do? We don't know. But I'm willing to say, let me try and let others try that were also in the CAP, because I know they're willing to try too.
There's one person who is a veteran and he got 7 injections.
He was a Navy pilot.
He got 7 injections and he stood up out of his wheelchair. He can stand on his own. He doesn't have to have his wheelchair, but he uses it for safety. But he stood up out of his wheelchair. I mean, that doesn't happen. But he's the only one that had 7 injections. Josh and these 10 others have.
The right to try act, and the military paid for a lot of it. It was its own separate thing. But he's the only one that had 7 doses. If I did get the drug in the trial, which I believe I did, I still don't know because it's not unblinded. I would have had 6 injections. So if that's the case, is that why I'm still breathing at 3.5 years into this diagnosis and not on a trilogy machine? Could still walk, could still bathe myself. These are all huge things in life, you know. And I mean, with a disease where you usually lose 1 to 2 points, time is of the essence. We don't got years to wait, and we've seen the FDA could move fast.
Yep.
Especially this past year. I mean, like we already said, a vaccine has been passed through approval in 1 year, and yet no one has been fighting for millions of dollars for 15 years. And in a disease where ALS patient dies every 90 minutes. So I don't know, it makes no sense to us. And
have you gotten support from Senators Booker and Menendez, or did they give no real answer? The kind of like
there's no real answer. They are supportive when we talk to them on the Zoom calls, and of course, you know, they have to bring it back and talk to everyone, and we've just never gotten past there. We've talked to both of them at length, and
we have their LAs we talk to.
Yeah, we don't talk to them personally. We talk to their staffers, you know. But we have that website that I gave you, the Mayori.com, helpmayori.com. Anybody can call or go on that website and they give you the script. So the more people that call, that's the only way it gets through. You know, like Josh and I being 2 people calling, it's for both. Josh and I calling is one thing, but having all of New Jersey call the New Jersey senators is a different story, right? So they give you the script in there. They tell you what it is we're asking for. Everything is right on that website if somebody didn't feel like confident enough to pick up the phone and call or to send an email. So.
And yes, I will, for everybody out there watching and listening to this, I will include the website links, the emails and phone numbers up on our website and on our apps. As well as, of course, the numbers for Senator Menendez and Booker's office here. Josh and Paula, for those out there looking for hope, those battling ALS and their families here, who see a glimmer of hope here, a possible miracle here, that with this particular drug and anything else that may come its way and in future studies here, what would your message be to everybody else kind of going through this, hoping for something to happen soon from the FDA?
Don't give up. I mean, I know I'm not going to give up. I'm here using my voice every day to try to get the word out. No one is not going to work for everyone, unfortunately. That's not the case, as we've seen, but it is working for some. I know it's working for me and others. The earlier you treat the disease, obviously, the better the drug's going to work. It's biggest thing is don't give up and never lose hope, because once you lose hope, it's over. We're given a disease that's terminal, and you got to fight for your life every single day. It's just like I taught my kids in middle school football: never give up. No, that's it.
Josh, to I know there you got jerseys there in the back. To switch gears quickly for a second here. I know you've coached football, you played football. I know you're a couple years older than I am. I'm 29 myself right now. I know I played at Tom's River East. I know you played for although he wouldn't like me calling him that, the legendary Coach Versillo at Lacey High School, because he's a great guy and a very humble guy too. But your experience playing football, what are some of your favorite football memories, either playing and at Lacey High School in the Gridiron Classic, and then coaching? Some of the things that you got the most out of with football, and even more recently, I guess, with some of the things that you've passed on to athletes that you're coaching.
Biggest thing is the family behind it. There's nothing like it. A lot of sports are an individual sport. You can't do that in football. You rely on the guy next to you just as much as yourself. So it's the family aspect. Winning a state championship was pretty awesome. 4,000 people at their high school field. Pretty wild. Teaching the young kids all that responsibility, the ethics behind football. It's a life-changing experience, I think.
Not just a sport.
Not just a sport, for sure. It definitely molds you into a greater man and girls nowadays, which is awesome to see. So it's the greatest game, I think. It's just awesome.
Paul, I know, from playing football myself or running track or whatever, I know parents are going crazy from the stands for the whole team, any play when something exciting's happening. To watch Josh play back then, watch him coach, to watch him to battle now in this, I guess, another form of a football field. What are some of the things that you're chanting, you're saying from the metaphorical stands now in this game?
Well, every Monday I would go to work with no voice. That's how much I screamed for Josh. There couldn't be enough sacks for me, like, oh my gosh, another one. It was great. I loved watching Josh play all the sports that he played. He's in it with his heart. He loves the sport. And now I see the same determination in Josh. He never gives up. He's taught us so much over this last few years. He's very strong. Our logo is Smith Strong, and we live by that. Josh teaches us a lot of lessons every day in how to live life to the fullest, because you never know what's promised. You're not promised tomorrow, so we have to live for today. And the love that we have in our family has always been amazing, but now it's just different. I can't even tell you. You hear people say that how precious life is, but people just take it for granted. Like I said, even getting dressed, taking a shower, everything. We just see life different now, and can't love any more than we love each other. It's amazing. It is so amazing.
Now, I will include the phone numbers, emails, the website links up on our website and on our apps as well. But is there anything on social media, anywhere else, anything else that everybody else out there can do for you two, for the family, to help get the word out about this story? Anything else you need?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, and again, they post everything that there is to know to help get the bill passed and to help get the fourth phase for the NurOwn. So you can follow us on Twitter. Know what my name is? Smith Strong 1, I think. I'll send it to you because I'm not 100%. We have the advocacy page on Facebook is No More Excuses. Anybody who has ALS or family members, it's called Pals and Cows. Pals are patients with ALS and caregivers. So there is everything on these pages that can help in a day-to-day basis. We fight, like Josh said, football is a part of a team, and now this No More Excuses is the same thing. We're a team. We're in this together.
Joshua and Paula, Forked River, thank you very much for sharing your story. Keep fighting. You see that football game, kind of, fourth quarter, let's put your biggest battle ahead, knock everything down, and we'll certainly do what we can. I mean, the Ocean County community alone in New Jersey has this tendency to kind of come together and help out one of their own. When the going gets tough, you've got a whole bleacher full of people. Think of the new lights there at Lacey, the Lions and everything. You kind of got a whole crowd kind of behind you here. So continue to fight, continue to battle, and continue to pray. Let's hope that the trial gets through, the FDA passes this, and this could help out certainly you and all those everybody else out there battling ALS, and those who unfortunately may get diagnosed at some point in the future. So continue to fight and continue to inspire hope in the Fork River, the Lacey, the Ocean County community, and far beyond that.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to hear our story. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
That is Josh Smith and his mother, Paula. Josh, a 32-year-old battling ALS, him and his mother and the family, hoping that you could help them by calling Senators Menendez and Booker and just really getting their story out, getting the word out there about this expanded access trial, the NurOwn drug, and trying to help out so many else out there with ALS. Check our website and our app for more. Again, thanks to the Smith family for their time today. I'm Vineb New, and thank you for watching another episode of Eyes on the Jersey Shore.